Hey, Stefan, Gary.
Good morning. How are you going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Okay, all right.
I'm attending on mobile, so I'll mostly just be listening.
Fair enough. The correct us if we say anything wrong. Hey, Sally.
Hello.
Morning, Sally.
Hey, Stefan. Hey, Gary.
Only two
Hello.
parts. Hello.
What did we have on the agenda? I'm not at liberty to see it right now.
Yeah, sure. So we had the 24.1.1 release, the GitHub Actions, that page that Matt did on the Besu's opinions in Prague, experimental storage improvements with trial log limiting, and the SnapSync become officially production ready. So if there's anything else you want to add into the agenda, yeah, feel free, Gary. Looks like the oh no, it's about to start. Hey, Izzy.
Hello. The meeting link in the calendar invite is incorrect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like I have to jump to the wiki page to get it out. So like I should not be the only one here. Hey
I'll
guys.
I had
investigate.
two invites. Yeah, I had two invites, and the first one worked. Maybe the second one wouldn't have.
I clicked on a calendar and invite didn't work, so I don't know which one though.
Oh, I've got 3 invites for this meeting.
Hopefully one of them worked. This seems like a pretty good crowd. I think we've probably got all the regulars that are planning to come. I think it's kick it off. I'll just share the screen so we can walk through the agenda. So a bit of housekeeping. We've got the antitrust notice there. You can read up on if you're not familiar with that. You would have seen the warning when you joined. This means to be recorded. People can mute unless you're speaking, and yeah, you can use the raise hand. All right. So get started. There's nothing under general announcements. Is there any general announcements anyone would like to bring up? I'm not sure if I put things under the right sections actually. So maybe some of those should have been under general announcements, but work updates. All right.
Maybe Denkun on Sepolia tomorrow,
That's a good
or
one
maybe today,
actually. Yeah, yes.
depending on your time zone.
Thinking Sepolia 30th. I can't remember the time. But very soon. In less than a day.
If anyone's got any long running tests on canary nodes or anything, it's
Yes.
time to update.
Make sure you update to 24.1.0. We had all the changes in, didn't we? I think so.
Yeah.
At least 1.0, but ideally, yeah, should update to the 24.latest 24.1.
And also the CL.
Yes. So I know Techie, you need the latest version. I don't know about the other CLs, whether
Some of them are pre-release.
okay.
Is that an announcement we need to make in like Discord or wider than just this call? Or has that already been made?
Well, it's already been. There was a blog post, I think, that the EF did on this. It wouldn't hurt for, I guess, us to put something on our
Reminder in
Discord.
Discord.
You put a reminder. So yeah, I'll put a note to I can do that up to the meeting or something. And then following on with that, pretty shortly, we have Dan Coon on Valesky, and that's on the 7th of February, I think. Might have to check on the day on that one. I'll just put a question mark there. I have to check on the exact date, but that's not too far away either. Spell things. Yeah, so we've got 2 hard forks coming up soon, and then hopefully not too long till mainnet. So yeah, and there'll be another release before mainnet because we don't know when that will be. Yeah. Thanks for that reminder, Gary. Roadmap review. I think we went through that. I think we went through that on the other call, so there's probably no need to go through that now. So I might just skip that. Release updates. So we had the 24.1.1 release come out a few days ago. There was a slight snafu, I guess, with the release process. Just so everyone's aware that the release artifacts are safe. They were verified. There was a problem with the CI. The job accidentally ran again, but it was exactly the same code. It just had different timestamps, which resulted in the shards being different. So those have been updated now, and they match what you can download. I think that's pretty much all to say on the 24.1.1 release. Other than that, I don't think there was anything else to point out that release. All right. GitHub Action CI. This is very close from what I understand. Maybe you have a bit more insight on where this is, Gary.
Yeah, I can do a quick status. Justin he's really just awaiting some feedback right now from Fabio. Everybody ahead and approved, and it looks good. We're ready to pretty much flip over, but Fabio's had some pretty detailed feedback since he's worked a lot with GitHub Actions. Make sure he heard from him before he merged it, but I'm expecting tomorrow we're going to be on GitHub Actions for CI.
Hey.
That's great.
There's some follow might take in terms of using GitHub and Artifactory for our generated art. And then Justin is also looking into making builds repeatable with some Gradle options, so we won't have a repeat of the 24.1.1 snafu with same code and different SHA. But yeah, looking forward to it.
What was the other thing? What was the other follow-up you mentioned? Sorry, I remember the repeatable work, repeatable builds.
Oh, I'm probably switching networks, so maybe now's not the best time to talk. But
okay.
yeah, there's some Gradle options that apparently we should be able to specify an explicit, static timestamp for all the artifacts that are created during the build, so that if we had the snafu like 24.1.1 where we reran the build, they still would evaluate to the same SHA.
That makes sense.
So yeah, it's in the works.
It'll be good. All right, I'll just leave this. That I'm sure there's a few small things, but that's great. That's really good. So we'll be so it's all on plan for using that for the next release then. Matt created this page here on just collecting various opinions on what Besu contributors think of Prague and the EIPs associated with that. I think there's probably not. I'm not sure if we really want to walk through this necessarily now, or I think it's a little bit of a work in progress. The top seems okay. The further down you go, the less details there are. But it looks like we're keen on EOF, at least from this, my look at this. I think we need to get a few more opinions on some of these other ELPs though. To see where we stand, how people, what people think on those.
Hmm.
It's got some names on there. I don't think any of the people on this call are listed here though. We got no. I'm just scanning quickly. Sorry, let's see if there's anyone. Oh, yeah, Gary, you've got your name on the EOAs, ELPs. I don't know if there's anything you want.
Yeah, the migration transaction one.
Which one's that? Is that this one here, 7377?
7377, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Light Client is yet another shot at moving people over to smart contracts, smart contract wallets. So trying to just maybe lend some credence to it, possibly do some championing, because I think MetaMask is interested in it as well.
You think it's likely we'd do a prototype or experiment with it in Besu?
I think that's like the bare minimum of championing it. Talking with Tim, it usually means like a major wallet provider, or someone like that, some infrastructure provider to come along with, not just a client team and an major infrastructure provider to be championing. So that probably would, if we did champion that, it would probably be Besu and MetaMask, I would assume.
Okay. Yeah, well, that sounds interesting. You have to keep us updated on how this goes. Unless anyone wants to talk about any of the others, I think it's probably worth going through these at the moment. Everyone can go through these in their own time. No, I think that silence is a yes. People were happy to do that. Have this item here. Simon, you'll be the best person to talk about this. We've got some experimental storage improvements now, saving a few gig with the limit try logs feature. Did you
Yeah, if you wouldn't
the
mind
details?
saving your changes and refreshing, because I've added some.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me do that. You've probably got all the nice bullet points there. It's not going to conflict, is it? It is. Now,
Wow, that's the first time I've seen a conflict on this.
I don't know how to resolve this either.
They had to disable the multi-edit thing because it was blocking the pages up.
Oh, I can do override, but I don't know how to. I might just do that at the end. So
Yeah.
the pain of having to watch me deal with that. So you've got these comments here. Stands to save 3 gig a week and around 160 gig a year.
Yeah, so it's a bit more than 3 gig. Kind of the best measurement I had was about 3.2 gig. So it varies depending on the size of the trilogs, which depends on the size of the blocks and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're talking roughly 3 gig a week, 160 gig a year. And so there's kind of two parts to this feature. If you enable it, then from that point onwards, it's going to prune trilogs and try and keep them to a default of the latest 512 blocks. The reason it's 512 is because we already have a bonsai limit of 512 for how far back you can query the blockchain. So it's kind of in line with that. You could go completely minimal and prune everything after the block gets finalized, which the code will handle, but it's everything from before the block is finalized, I should say. That means it's like safe from a protocol point of view, but obviously you wouldn't be able to query anything that was further back than that. So we've stuck with 512 as the default. And so for most users, which is really stakers are probably going to be the people that benefit from this most, that anyone that's been on Bonsai and running a Besu node for quite a long period of time, they could turn on the pruning and it'll be fine going forward. And then but they've got this backlog of trilogs that's still hanging around in their database that are redundant. Resyncing would get rid of those, but we've also developed a subcommand which will get rid of them in one go, which should take seconds to run. So it should be quite a small amount of downtime. So yeah, thanks, Jason. I've provided some documentation, some steps for going through it, and like troubleshooting guide and things like that. This is really aimed at users, but it's probably quite a quick way to see what's going on. I think we're targeting this for the next release, so 24.1.2, with the experimental flags. So two experimental features. One's the flag to enable pruning, the other's the experimental subcommand.
So this one.
And then I think we'll do a fairly fast follow with setting limiting trilogs as the default option for stakers at least. This all kind of depends on default profiles and things like that. There's also ongoing work in Besu, but I think, yeah, in terms of a staker, or at least in terms of maybe a bonsai user for now, it'll probably be enabled by default quite soon. That's kind of up to Matt, I guess, how long after this initial release in the next one. Yeah, that's kind of the intro to it. If there's any questions.
I've got one. Did you measure any of the like the costs to do the pruning? Because are we triggering it every block? Are we doing it every batch, or how expensive is the pruning?
Sure, but it's triggered every time we save a trilog, which is kind of every block, like nearly every block. It's a little bit more than that sometimes, especially if you're building blocks. So yeah, so it's technically every time we save a trilog, we try and prune one from that was, you know, the 513th block as we add a new one. I did some performance analysis with the Mesian, and it was negligible even when it was on the same thread, but just because we don't want to add to any processing time, we've moved it onto an asynchronous thread. So what happens is you receive, the normal case is you receive a new block, you build a trilog for it, that triggers an async, that fires a trilog added event, and then an asynchronous thread picks up the prune. So should be all good from that point of view.
Great. I saw the async PR. So that's why I was wondering if there was a cost we were trying to avoid. But it sounds like if you can do it async, you might as well.
We're avoiding it on, yeah, it was easy to do async, and we're avoiding it on the principle of not adding any extra processing time to new payload, etc. But yeah, we couldn't actually visibly see the difference even when it was on the same thread, but like sampling, it was below the sampling rate, I guess.
Yeah, we didn't see any performance degradation, but yeah, it's a lot safer not being on that, because there's no need for it to be on the same thread. It actually ended up being making the code cleaner too, so, which is a nice benefit of that changes.
Yeah.
The other thing worth pointing out, I guess it might be a little obvious, but this only applies to bonsai. And the default is still forest. At some point we're planning to change that to bonsai. Don't know exactly when that is. So yeah, it just only does, this only applies to bonsai. But we do get about 30% reduction in database growth a week, though. So I'm looking for what Eurex said. Like it must have been about 10 before, and now it's only 7, which is it's pretty impressive. So that's a really nice feature. But it is still experimental right now. So.
And yeah, anyone that's been running for a year, say, and hasn't resynced in that time is going to instantly free up 160 gig as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you have to run the sub. Probably best to run the subcommand at that stage. In case though, we've been running Besu for a while. It doesn't take very long to run and reclaim that space. I'll leave this the merging stuff to the end there. All right, thanks, Simon.
You can cancel, use yours if you want, and I'll just reapply my change.
Sure. All right, I'll just overwrite and you can reapply. Okay, I was going. All right, let's do that. Yeah, it doesn't seem like an easy way to merge with this this tool. Last item we've got on here is SnapSync to finally become official production ready. This was your point, Sally. Did you want to talk to it?
Yeah, so that probably follows on quite nicely from the mention there about changing the default soon to be bonsai rather than forest. And we've got a similar situation with wanting to change the default sync mode to snap, which has been in kind of our recommended default for a while. But before we can do that, we need to mark it as production ready. So that's coming in the next release. Hopefully that'll be in 24.1.2. So X snap and X checkpoint will still be available, but they're marked for deprecation. So they're likely to be removed in the next quarterly release, so 24.4.0.
Okay. Will this depend on what network you're using? Will the default be across the board for, I guess, mainnet and enterprise, or?
Yeah, so that PR that's just there, that I've put there is just to change the name of SnapSync from XSnap to Snap, but we're still spotting it XSnap. And then after that, then we can say the default can be SnapSync. So as part of that work, we're introducing, there's some PRs open now. I don't know if Gabrielle wants to talk about this, but introducing a new option to have a profile. Do you want to talk about that, Gabrielle? Oh, you're on mute.
What? So
Yep.
the idea is to have this flag profile. And initially we're gonna have 3 different profiles pre-configured. So the user can specify which profile he wants to use. And some default values will be overridden based on the profile. So for now we have staking, minimal staking, and enterprise. Minimal staking will reduce the number of blocks that we retain so that we can, save some resources. And the enterprise profile will load some configurations that are enterprise and private networks related. The PRs are ready. The profiles are loaded through a TOML file, so it's pretty simple. We'll post that in the Besu reveals today.
Oh, great. Thanks, Sally. I'll put that in. Was there anything else? All right, that sounds like everything then. All right, thank you everyone for joining the call.
Thanks, Jason.
No problem.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye.
So.
Yes.